So number 41 is one of these problems that you look at, and you look at those answer choices, and it's 1 only, 2 only, 3 only, 1 or 2 only, 1, 2, or 3. So you're going to have to do a little bit of work on this one. So this is one of these, when you have that 1, 2, or 3 situation that you're having to see which ones work, this is one that you're going to skip and come back to, okay? The equations below are linear equations of a system where a, b, and c are positive integers. And when I think linear, my mind automatically goes y equals mx plus b. Which of the following describes the graph of at least one such system? Well, number 1 says that I have 2 parallel lines. 2 parallel lines have the same slope once my equation is solved for y. A single line, that just means that these 2 equations have to be the exact same line. Same slope, same y-intercept. And number 2, 2 intersecting lines just means if the slopes are not the same, those 2 lines have to intersect each other somewhere. So I'm going to solve both of these equations for y. So I have ay plus bx equals c, and the other one is ay minus bx equals c. Don't freak out. You know how to solve for y. Get y by itself, so I'm going to subtract bx. So I have negative bx plus c, and then I'm going to get rid of a. So I'm going to divide. I have to get rid of a over here, and what I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. So negative b over a x plus ca. Don't freak out. Here's the slope. And then here I have y equals, I'm going to add bx to both sides. And I can tell right now that my slopes are not the same because one's positive and one's negative. So here I have y equals ba over x plus ca. My slopes are not the same. This one's negative, this one's positive, so they cannot be parallel, so it can't be A. If it can't be 1, then guess what? 1 won't work here, 1 won't work here, because I know they're not parallel. That leaves me a single line for number 3. Well, they're definitely not the same thing. My y-intercepts are the same, but my slopes are opposite of each other, so it can't be 3. So number 2 only, so B. And again, the lines are going to intersect if the slopes are different from each other. Number 42 says, according to the measurements given in the figure below, which of the following expressions gives the distance in miles from the boat to the dock? So I want to know x. So think about what you have. You know you're talking about sine, cosine, or tangent. Some old hippie caught another hippie tripping on acid. So sine's opposite over hypotenuse, cosine's adjacent over hypotenuse, tangent is opposite over adjacent. So let's look and see what we have. We have an angle measure, and then we have a side opposite that angle, and we have a side adjacent to that angle. So tangent is what we're talking about. And if you'll look at your answer choices, there's only one that it can be. There's only one that's talking about the tangent. Let's say you don't pay attention to that, and you see that it's tangent of 52 degrees equals the opposite side over the adjacent side, and you want to solve for x, so cross multiply. 30 times the tangent of 52 equals x. F. The circle graph below shows the distribution of registered voters by age for a community. Registered voters are randomly selected for this distribution to be called for jury duty. What are the odds, not probability, what are the odds in the age range to not in the age range? So what are the odds that the first person called for jury duty is in the age range of 25 to 35 years? Keep in mind, you're not talking about probability. You don't want what you want over the total. When you're talking odds, you want, so your ratio is going to be what you want to what you don't want. So I want my age 25 to 35, so that's 42%. Well, you know percent's out of 100, so 42%, what's left out of 100? 58%. So reduce 42 to 58, and you get 21 to 29, D. The figure below shows the design of a circular stained panel on display at Hopewell's Antique Show or shop. Seams separate the pieces of the panel. All red triangular pieces shown are congruent and have a common vertex with each adjoining triangular piece. The 2 squares shown are inscribed in the circle. The diameter of the panel is 2 feet. That's a lot of information right there. The question says the design of the stained glass panel has how many lines of symmetry in the plane of the panel? Well, we know that we have two squares. What else did we know? All triangular pieces shown are congruent and have a common vertex. So let's see. We have a line of symmetry at the corner of this square, at the corner of this square, at the corner of this square, so that's 3, 4, and then at the edges of the triangles, 5, 6, 7, 8, H. Number 45, you're using the same information as you did in 44. The question says, what is the area of the stained glass panel to the nearest 1/10 square foot? Well, that stained glass is a circle, and the area of a circle is pi times radius squared. And my answers are not in terms of pi, so I'm going to say 3.14 times, this is the diameter. The radius is in half, so half of 2 is 1, and 1 squared is 1, so 3.14. It says round to the nearest 1/10 of a foot, so A. So 46 says, Kaya wants to install a new circular stained glass window in her living room. The design of the window will be identical to that of the panel. The diameter of the new window will be 75% longer than the diameter of the panel. The new window will be how many feet in diameter? Well, if the old diameter is 2 feet, this one is 75% longer. So I need to know what 75% of 2 feet is. So 0.75 times 2 is 1.5. So then I'm going to do 2 plus 1.5, and that gives me 3.5. J. So in the figure below, AB is parallel to CD. AE bisects BAC, and CE bisects ACD. If the measure of BAC is 82 degrees, what is the measure of angle AEC? So if BAC is 82 degrees, then I know that each one of these small angles is 41 degrees. Well, I also know that when I have parallel lines cut by a transversal, then this angle here plus this angle here adds up to be 180 degrees. And if I know that BAC is 82, then angle DCA is going to be 98 degrees, because 180 minus 82 is 98 degrees. That means that each of these little angles are 49 degrees. Well, I'm wanting to know this angle measure here, so I know 41 plus 49 adds up to be 90, and 180 minus 90 is 90, so C. In the circle shown below, chords TR and QS intersect at P, which is the center. So that means that my vertical angles are congruent, and the measure of PST, angle PST is 30 degrees. So that means this angle here is also 30 degrees. What is the degree of minor arc RS? Well, if you know the angle from here to here, this angle measure and this minor chord are the same thing. Well, I know that if in that triangle I have 60 degrees, there's 120 degrees left here. And I know that RPT makes a straight line, which is 180 degrees. So that leaves me 60 degrees here. So 60H. For what value of A would the following system of equations have an infinite number of solutions? Well, an infinite number of solutions means that they have a lot or all points in common. If you have two lines and they intersect somewhere, that point of intersection, that ordered pair where they intersect, is the only solution that they have in common. That's the only solution that it has. Well, an infinite number of solutions means that you've got some line, and then if you have another line laying right on top of it, everywhere those two lines touch is a point of intersection. So if you have a line that's laying right on top of the other one, that's an infinite number of solutions. That means that they are the same exact line. Well, look at the difference in these two equations. If you multiply 2 times 3, you get 6. And if you multiply 3 times y, you get 3y. So if I multiply 3 times 8, that gives me 24. That means that this right here needs to equal 24. So 4a equals 24. A has to equal 6b.